Justin Trudeau is officially the most hated Prime Minister in Canadian history. More on that in a minute. Furthermore, coming up in the show, we have Jeffrey Marsh, who, if you haven't heard of him, God bless you, but he is a trans YouTuber / influencer who has found a way to disguise grooming as guidance. All this and more coming up.
I have never seen, the sticker that I saw yesterday in downtown Toronto running through the city with F. Trudeau on the back of a pickup truck. Flags with your name and the middle finger raised.
Yeah.
Why don't people like you?
There is a level of...
The question shouldn't be, why don't people like you? The question should be, why do people still like you?
polarization and toxicity that we see in a very visible way on social media and also in real life, as you point out. But most Canadians remain thoughtful and open and decent, and yes, frustrated.
And you're just as delusional as you are ugly. Canadians can smell your horseshit from a mile away, pal. We have a lot more accurate senses than you give us credit for. We know a slimy politician when we see one. And you're about as greasy as they get. Surprised you don't fucking slide away.
And worried about their future. But I also know Canadians are good people who are willing to work together to build that future, and I'm part of that.
God, isn't he a blowhard? Doesn't he make you just want to... He has a punchable face. He does. There's some people that just have some features of their face. You just want to punch it. Punch them in the face.
As a second language programs.
We will continue to work with people at the provinces.
Know what you're up to. We're carbon taxes everything. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you and your globalist counterparts. You're scumbag. You're an absolute scumbag.
The only part I find funny about that is, sure, like what he said was great, but he was running away as he was saying it. Which, fair enough, maybe you have to. Maybe there's a lot more shit going on underneath the covers that I'm not aware of. Maybe he's going to go out here and get a nice slap on the ass. I'm a drama teacher. I really don't know what the fuck I'm in for here. Let's watch this one.
The quote was about protests in general. It was something like, we have a vibrant democracy here in Canada and we value protests. But it was something like, but when you use protest to protest, to object to the policies of the government, I think you're going too far. Well, what the fuck is protest for, except to object to the policies of the government?
It was quite shocking, everything that happened in that protest, because they seized the bank accounts of 200 Canadians.
Yeah, not only did they label them as terrorists, Canadian truck drivers, Canadian workers, Canadian people who drove all the way out there from all corners of the country to go and protest against policies that they disagreed with. And they were branded as terrorists, as enemies of the country, and also had their bank accounts frozen. Their money. They weren't allowed to access their money. It's about as totalitarian as you can fucking imagine.
When you say seized, they froze it. They didn't take their money. They just froze it. So they
froze their credit cards. They froze their mortgage payments. They locked them out. So they locked them out of the financial system entirely.
That is creepy.
It's really bad. In fact, one of the banks...
It's beyond creepy, Bill Maher. It's beyond creepy, but creepy's not a good adjective. It's not creepy. It's corrupt. It's evil. It's tyrannical. It is absolutely wrong. Wrong.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was shocking. Canadians aren't sufficiently shocked about it, partly because they don't really understand what that absolutely. I can't imagine a politician doing anything more inappropriate than that, right? No trial, no real investigation. Plus, Trudeau claimed that the trucker convoy was financed by MAGA, Republican Americans, which is completely preposterous because, first of all, why would MAGA Republican Americans foment dissent in Ottawa? Like, even if they knew where it was, which they don't, and they don't care, and why would they? And so, first of all, it was the Russians. It's like, oh, yes, that's the Russians' primary concern. And then it was like literally MAGA Republican Americans funding the trucker protests in Ottawa. It was so
And they were protesting vaccine mandates?
Yeah, essentially. But they were protesting the lockdowns more broadly, I would say.
That's why they went there. Hundreds of thousands of people. Because they're like, fuck, we can't work anyway. May as well go and put a stink up. But no, you're just terrorists. You're not hardworking Canadian people that we claim to love so much and value so much. No. You're just an asshole who needs to go back to your province and just be good. Just put a bag on your head. Shut up. It's not hard to tell why everyone hates him. It's not. He's not very likable. He's kind of an asshole. And he's fake. But at the same time, it's time for Canadians to say, nah, no more. We're done. Done with your bullshit. Get out. Let's get someone else in here. I don't care what you adults do. Wear your G-strings and dance around and fucking wings on you and fairy wings. I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want to do. Suck whoever's dick you want. It doesn't matter. But leave children out of it. Let them play in the dirt. Let them ride their bikes. Let them throw balls at each other. Let them be kids. And I'm not just trying to be a bigot here, or prejudiced, or discriminatory. First of all, I don't care anyway if you call me a bigot or not. Go fuck yourself. But this guy is a damaged child who didn't receive a proper support system and thus has become who he is. And insists on protecting and guiding children who, in his eyes, have parents that are cruel and unsupportive and abusive to them. And he thinks it's his moral obligation to provide those children with a support system. Nah, bud. You're stepping into territory that you shouldn't be into. Allow me to elaborate. How to be you. Finding your focus in activism. Not everyone needs to be a fucking activist. Just go to your job and work. Go home. Get ready for daddy issues in 3, 2, 1.
My father apologized for my childhood. I was cleaning my apartment and the phone rang and I did something very uncharacteristic.
You picked up the phone, didn't you?
I saw it was him and I answered. And he said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way I treated you.
He said, I'm sorry. You don't have $20 I could borrow, do you?
I really remember Dad saying, I was worried about what other parents would think of me because of who you are.
I would too. But the difference between me and his father is that, first of all, I'm fairly certain that he was abandoned as a child. You'd have to have been, But I would have never considered this person embarrassing me, like to my neighbors. Like I have 2 kids right now. I have one on the way. And I will never be embarrassed in front of my neighbors because of them. I will be, if anything, I will be embarrassed in front of my neighbors because of the way that I raised them. Because I'm their example. They are not extensions of me, but you know what I mean. Like they learn everything about who they are and who they want to be from what they see. So if they're unfavorable and if they warrant embarrassment or shame, it's indicative of my failure as a parent. Right? Anyway, that makes sense to me. Let's continue down the path of righteousness.
I was worried that other parents would judge me because you are who you are.
Yeah, they were judging your father, but not for the reasons he thinks. They weren't judging him because of you. They were judging him because of him. Which they should.
Every day.
Because that's a maladjusted adult right there.
I get messages from teens mostly, sometimes adults too.
No. Sometimes adults? It's hard to imagine that you receive text messages from predominantly teens. It's not like your whole shtick isn't super enticing to a young, impressionable person who wants nothing more than to fit in.
Saying, I was going to try suicide, and I decided to stick around because I read your tweet.
So a tweet was the straw that broke the camel's back. You were about to kill yourself because you hated who you were that much, because of how much of the social media you look at and how much people telling you that you can be whatever you want. And you were about to kill yourself, and seeing this guy's tweet pulled you around? What? Trans people, they're talking about killing themselves. Why weren't people killing themselves 100 years ago? You'd think if there's the number of trans people there is in the West, only in the West too, maybe a little bit in Europe, but we're cut from the same cloth here. You'd think that they would have killed themselves 100 years ago. The numbers of suicide among youth would have been record-breaking. No. Or it's because we're just so comfortable here now in the West and we have so little to actually be concerned with that we create bullshit out of nowhere. Who gives a fuck what you put your dink in? Who cares? Be a respectful, reciprocal person and a good member of society.
Is so popular, so addictive in American culture that sometimes transphobia is misogyny. Here's Utah. A state official, a member of their education board at the state level, targeted a single student and on social media accused that one student of being trans. The student is not trans. The student is a cisgender teen girl who is good at playing basketball. And
it's hard to tell now. It's hard to tell. Like, there's cat people now. Oh God.
the state official targeted her, and she received harassment, death threats, and the school had to get police protection for this student, one of their students. Misogyny.
Yeah, that's definitely warrants police protection. Holy Christ almighty. God forbid anyone bring a gun. Someone just accidentally called me the gender that I'm not. You know, if someone mistook me for a woman, you know what I'd do? Probably go like this. Oh, me? You really think so, huh? No, I got a huge skeletal system in my pants. But no, I'd be flattered. I would. I'd say, geez, I must have a nice ass. I wouldn't go saying, my God, does anyone have a cell phone? I gotta call the authorities here. Someone really hurt my feelings here. I'd expect to be punched in the face. That's why I'm happy I grew up in a small town.
So I've been thinking about pain a lot and how you're
sure
in
you
it.
have been.
How I'm in it too. I mean, my life has had an incredible amount of pain.
Quit fucking whining. TERFs. Trans exclusionary radical feminists.
I am a non-binary trans activist, and this is an article from the Washington Post. And it's about whether using language like people who can be pregnant instead of saying women, whether that is bad for feminism or not.
It is. It is bad for feminism. People who can have children as opposed to women. Yes, that's insulting to women. For you just to claim that you can now, knowing that that woman spent 9 months with a baby in her uterus, disfigured her body, disfigured her skeletal system, caused her immense pain, barely got any sleep, couldn't lay on her stomach, and then at the end of it, she got the reward of being able to push it out of her vagina, and then continue to menstruate once a month until she goes through menopause. But you're right. You just call yourself a woman. It's not insulting at all. Fuck, you're an insult to both of us now.
And I just want to add something personal to the mix.
Wonderful.
In the past week or so, I've been accused...
Not you. You'd never add anything personal to the mix. Not you. You're not the kind of person that would tell us a sob story and beg for our mercy and our sympathy. How uncharacteristic of you.
I've been accused of ruining feminism, ruining sports, ruining schools, ruining gender, ruining society.
You just named them all. Congratulations. You have, not you single-handedly, but the ideology that has possessed you has ruined sports. It has ruined school. It has ruined society. It has completely separated men and women, has made them loathe each other, has made their definitions subjective and interchangeable, and has taken away all it is to be one or the other.
When LGBTQ people are blamed for every darn thing, it's a bad sign for a society and a culture and a democracy.
And a democracy. It sure is. When trans people and LGBTQ people are blamed for everything. No, you're not blamed for everything. We're just tired of You're not important enough. I don't care what you think you are. I don't give a fuck. I don't know you. If you were a close acquaintance of mine and you come over to dinner and you said, geez, I'm really... Like, if a friend of mine came over for dinner, right? And they were normal the day before. You know, we had just went and played pool at the bar the day before, and they were just awesome. Same old Jeremy I've always known. But they came over to dinner. I invited them over, and they're sitting there, and they start going, we're talking, and then they just start going, like a cat. Am I supposed to sit there and say, geez, boy, you're looking a little wild there, looking a little feral, and be supportive and like say, oh, good boy, you want a treat? I have some Whiskas. Want some of them? Good boy. No. I'm going to look at him and say, geez, bud, did you hit your head before you came in? Did you fall onto the sidewalk on the back of your head? Are you having trouble seeing? Because you're licking your hands and rubbing your head like you're a cat. Am I supposed to, if I love that person and they're an acquaintance of mine, I think that's my obligation, right? It's my duty as their companion, as their ally, to help them when I perceive them going through a crisis. But no, they don't do that. Same as these trans people. Like, they think that they're so important that we all have to drop what we're doing and praise you and support you. Go fuck yourself. If you're not strong enough to do that on your own, you're nothing to me. Everyone, the two Muskequeers. You can say it now. They call themselves queer. Don't jump on my back. I'm just being supportive.
You decided. In the philosophical sense.
If I have to be.
In the philosophical sense, you're perfect. No. You're not perfect in reality. You're not perfect philosophically. You're not perfect mentally. You're not perfect physically. You're not perfect spiritually. You pretty much checked every box to not be perfect in. Look at you. You look like someone who's used to getting their way and said, geez, I wonder if I go out there and say, oh yeah, we'll do the 100 days of girlhood and I'll be a little girl and I'll go around the shopping mall and offer people tampons even though I have a fucking cock between my legs. And like be all ditzy and pretend that women are simplified to the point of just being Starbucks drinkers and manicure getters. Women are a lot more than that. They're a lot more than the character you put on, bud. You're an insult to women. They're not just a outfit you can wear. And you'll never understand how hard it is to be a woman. Oh.
You have to be. You have shown what it's like to express yourself fully without it having to make sense.
Right. I think every time that I have made a move in my life, whether it be on the internet or right here, being vulnerable, showing a side of myself that is quote unquote imperfect, whether it's my stubble or it's my chest hair or it's...
Oh my God, you are an experiment, fella. You're scarier than Frankenstein to me. Like someone spliced you together in a laboratory. The world's a jumbled place. It's a jumbled place. And let me know in the comments what you think is an issue that you'd like addressed. And I'll definitely look into it. I'll let you guys be the ones that send me the shit, because I can find it a little bit of the time, but I'd much prefer you just let me know what you're interested in, and then I'll react to it, because I'm sure there's an abundance of ridiculous shit out there. But yeah, thanks so much.